Hi all, so here are a couple of top tips on the disabling emotion that is fear. How do we know when it's real fear that we should run the F away from, that could threaten us and undermine our lives and our happiness? And how do we know when it's false fear, when we're catastrophizing and maybe thinking in black and white ways or negative mental filter ways that are actually disproportionate to reality? How can we tell a difference? Sounds easy, right? Not always. Now, one of my lovely clients got me thinking about this week. Very perceptive question. He said, well, how can I tell, Mel, if it's real fear or false fear? Brilliant question. So the first thing I would say is practice a bit of cognitive behavioral therapy questioning to work out whether you can in fact find an alternative way of looking at this. If you can, it may be that it's not a real fear that's founded in truth. So firstly, what's the stressful thought that's making you feel fear? Secondly, can you spot any cognitive distortions, i.e. departures from the truth, like, oh yes, I'm catastrophizing about that. It's not that I'll never get a job again, because there are indeed lots of other companies that I like out there. Or maybe you spot black and white thinking. It's just all bad, there's no good. Well, actually, there is some good. I've got a great CV, I've got brilliant certifications, etc. Okay, so already you're departing from that fearful potential illusion. What hard evidence do you have for that fear? That indeed there are no jobs, for example, or you'll never work again? Actually, not many examples there. Okay, great, departing even more from that fear. Okay, what's an alternative way of looking at this? Maybe there's an opportunity here in this shifting change in my life. Maybe there's an opportunity for future growth, for finding better companies that suit me better, for example. Okay, and finally, what would you say to a best friend? That brings up your most positive, compassionate voice. Now, you might find by then you've departed from the potential illusion of fear, the false evidence appearing real. If you find that exercise really, really hard to do, it may be that it is a genuine fear that's reflective and proportionate with reality. And then maybe you need to look at making a change. So let's say you're feeling really fearful and sick in a relationship. Maybe you're feeling really nauseous. It's keeping you awake at night. You're finding yourself avoiding really important conversations. You're self-abandoning because you're putting that other person's needs first, for example. Then there may be change that needs to be made. So there are a couple of top tips for working out whether fear is real or not. Remember, emotions can be your friend. They can be helpful signals for what you really need more of. And if you'd like to learn more about that, there's a brilliant podcast with Susan David, PhD, who is a Harvard professor on emotions. She's wonderful. And Mark Groves. And it's all about Susan teaching you the power of emotions as insightful signals, like roadmaps to greater happiness. So even if you feel negative, anxious, fearful emotions, they are a pathway to greater happiness when you know how to navigate that map.